Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we're talking about the SOG Spec-elite 2 Auto. So here we have the SOG Spec-elite 2 Auto. And this is one of SOG's fully automatic knives. It's from the collection of Todd Knife and Tool. And what we have is aluminum handles, both sides, with a very deep carry pocket clip. And it looks like the pocket clip can be taken out and swapped to the other side, so that's covered. We do have a locking mechanism for the blade. Whenever you slide that up, you can push the button all you want and the blade will not fly out. And, you know, it's your standard auto. It's closed back design. And of course we have our button to actuate the knife, and the button is well placed. And we've got our milling and SOG here, which makes the knife pretty nice. I'm not a guy that carries auto knives, so I don't know all the intricacies of an auto. I just have to look at it from the EDC perspective. So anyhow, our size comparison, closed size comparison of other tactical knives. We have a Spyderco Police. A little bit smaller than a Spyderco Police. Definitely a lot lighter than that stainless steel version. Smaller than a Spyderco Military. And one more up here. About the same size as a Benchmade 710 as far as length goes. The 710 is a little thicker and a little heavier. So there you have it. It is a big knife. We'll throw the Delica and the Rat 1 up here for those of you that may not have those other knives. And of course it's bigger than the Delica. And it's a little smaller than the Rat 1. Weighs a lot less than the Rat 1. So anyhow, get a look at it in our Levi's. And this is one of the beautiful things about this knife. It slides in and out of the pocket pretty darn well. And whenever you stick it in the pocket, the knife is gone. Literally gone. There's nothing to see except for the pocket clip. It could be anything. So that is a very good thing for an automatic knife, because for those of us that aren't law enforcement or police, there are a lot of law enforcement officers out there that unfortunately don't know the rules on automatic knives where they live. And you know, and don't get mad at them, guys. They should know it, sure, but they're asked to know the rules on so many crazy things that, you know, maybe we can give them a little bit of slack. And officers, please, if you're watching this video, read up on the rules on knives in your area so that you're not giving people a hard time. You know, I know that some of the officers in my area that I've spoken to didn't realize that Missouri made automatic knives legal for everybody. So they're still under the impression that if a person is carrying an automatic knife that it's a bad thing. And, you know, it's not. It's not any different than assisted or not any different than this Benchmade 710. I can open it just as fast and get it closed faster than this SOG. But anyhow, off my soapbox and moving on along, we're going to hit up our pause and read card, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Alright, so mechanically with this thing, I have not had it apart, so I cannot tell you specifically what is down in that pivot. And I'm not going to take it apart. Automatic knives and all the springs can be a mess. So since I have to send this back to Todd Knife and Tool, I'm not going to take his baby apart. Anyhow, our lock mechanism is a plunge lock. And it's a plunge lock just like Brian Ty uses on the Ty-Tacs and the various other knives that he's made. It's very similar to that, and very similar to every other, maybe not every other, but many other automatic knives. The plunge lock keeps the knife closed, and it allows for it to open. Allows for you to open the knife, allows the springs to open the knife. So you push down on it, of course, the knife opens right up. And ergonomically, this thing, well, It's just not great. Is it okay? Yes. You lay it in your hand, and the knife handle is fine. The jimping here and the jimping here are fine. That's great. Why there's jimping down here, I mean, I guess it gives you some extra push. You know, you got your reverse grips. All your grips are going to work fine with this thing. It's not the greatest, but everything's going to be just fine. And it's just all good. We have strong spring action there. It comes out with authority. If you don't have your hand on it pretty well, it will jump right out of your hand. Now, one thing with an automatic knife, you're always under spring pressure. The plunge lock locks it open, and you've got to push the button to lock it again, to close the knife. So, all in all, seems like a pretty good knife. Now, one thing we missed earlier was the blade. And the blade on this guy is a big fat question mark. It is 3.95 inches long with a 3.82 inch cutting edge. Sounds good so far. Fairly thin, good for its intended use at 0.109 or about 2 3/4 millimeter as far as blade thickness. Now, and it's flat ground. Now, here's the question mark, the part I don't understand. It's made from AUS 8. This is a knife that MSRPs for $205, and the blade material is AUS 8. I don't understand that. You know, somebody at SOG needs to do some explaining, I think. Anyhow, other than the blade material issue, this SOG Spec-elite 2, it is, for an automatic, a very, very nice knife. I would like to, of course, see this knife at its price tag in some S30V or S35VN, or, you know, at least bump us up the spectrum a ways. But that would be my choice, is S35VN or S30V. You know, even a upgrade to some of that Sandvik 14C28N would be welcome, or lower the price. Anyhow, the SOG Spec-elite 2 Auto. For an automatic, it's a pretty nice one. So there it is, guys, the Spec-elite 2 Auto. I'm not much of an auto guy. I've learned how to open just about any other knife fairly quickly. But for those of you out there that like your auto knives, need your auto knives, and they do have their place. If you're in law enforcement or something like that, the surefire one-handed opening knife is pretty important. You know, I don't know if I would go with a side opener. If I were in law enforcement, I think I would go with an out the front just to make it that much easier. But if you're a side opener guy, you know, this is a pretty good one with the exception of that steel. And I don't really understand why SOG would put AUS 8 in a knife at that price level. But if you're okay with that, it's a good knife. SOG, if you're listening, up your game. It's time to up the game. AUS 8 is no longer acceptable in knives past about 25 or 30 bucks. So, anyhow, the action, the design is all pretty good. The ergos, a little wonky for EDC, but whenever you think about what this knife was designed for, the ergos are pretty good. You have jimping on both sides at the front. You can do the moves that if you were a person that needed an auto knife, you could take care of them with confidence. Not worry too much about getting your hand run up on the blade. So, you know, all those stabbing, thrusting motions, you're pretty well taken care of. I would like to see a little more curvature here for a little more personal protection from the blade, but overall, very good. And if they'd up the steel on this, I think this would be an all-star for a side opening auto. Anyhow, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by to talk knives with me for a few minutes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here and at Todd Knife and Tool. Once again, this is a Todd Knife and Tool knife that he sent up here graciously to let us take a look at. And you know the deal. We're going to be giving away some of those Todd Knife and Tool Customs here pretty soon. Almost got them ready. So be sure to get over there and subscribe. All that information is down in the description. And you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.